if you're watching this, then it means you're part of the Supreme VIP membership. So first off, I want to thank you guys for being part of the, I want to thank you personally, I want to thank you for being part of the team, you feel me? So from now on, we're going to be doing things a whole lot different, you feel me? Still going to get the signals, but there's going to be also this type of lessons which I plan on doing more, you feel me? So in today's lesson, or in today's class, we're talking about trends and the role they play into this market. All right, so let's go into it. So for any of you guys, I know like the people I'm dealing with, some of you come to me when you've already been trading for some time, and some of you come to me like when you're only starting out to trade, like now, you feel me? So this video, I feel like there's gonna be lessons or things you can take away from this, even if you're at that point where you've been trading before, you feel me? Because trends aren't just trends in terms of like just saying no, the market is going up or the market is going down. You need to look at types of cues and different things where you can build an overall picture of how a market is behaving. Then you can start buying and selling into that market or whatever. But the first step that you need to do is you need to be aware of the trend and like the highs and lows and everything. So obviously I need to open the charts for me to go deeper into that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about it, right? So before you even do that, there's three types of things you need to know, three types of trends. There's an uptrend, we have a downtrend, and there's a sideways market, right? So I'm gonna go deeper into all these types of markets that I just told you guys about now. So let's go ahead and dive into this one. Alright fam, so talking about trends, the first thing that we're gonna look at is the not the downtrend. The first thing that we're gonna look at is the uptrends, right? So as you guys know, I've sent a PDF to you guys with the Supreme Traders Price Action Guide, right? So this is gonna be an explanation on, it's actually page 7, right, of the Price Action Guide, where we talk about uptrends, right? So in this guide, what we've established is that an uptrend is how we refer to a currency pair when the overall direction of price is upward, you feel me? So basically what this means is each peak is higher than the previous peak. So when you talk about peaks, you're talking about the turning points of the market, either the turning point at the top or the turning point at the bottom. And we're gonna go to our chart now so I can better explain this theory that I'm explaining to you guys, right? So when you talk about the peaks being higher than the previous ones, basically this is a peak, right? This is a peak, this is a peak. And to simplify this term of talking about peaks, we can say turning points. So this market, we can see if we're just starting here, it goes up and there's a turning point here, it goes down, turning point here, it goes up, turning point there, it goes down, turning point there, it goes up, you feel me? So every time the market makes a turning point at the top, we consider it a high, right? In other terms, other people refer to it as swing highs, but just call it a high for the sake of simplicity, right? And then the turning point at the bottom, i.e. here or there, that's what we call a low, right? So in the uptrend, the simplicity of this thing is that each high that forms is higher than the previous high, you feel me? So we can say this high right here, the market came and made this high, right? And then this high was higher than this one, you feel me? So the resistance moved higher, right? And then we had this high again now. So this high is higher than this one, right? Then the market came and made which high? Came and made this high now. So obviously this high that we have up there is higher than this one. This one is lower than this one. So every high that forms is higher than the previous one, you feel me? So when you look at the lows, we can say we had this low right there, you feel me? But then as you can see here, this low is higher than this one, you feel me? And then the next low is this one, which is still higher than this one, you see? And then the market came and made another low, which is this one here, which is even higher than the other one we were just looking at. So overall, what you gotta do is you just have to look at the overall direction of the where the market is going. And if you are able to like tell the direction of the market, then the next thing that you need to do is find the structure. So when you talk about the structure, we're talking about the swing highs and swing lows. If your swing highs and swing lows are clearly defined, then you know there's a market you can trade, right? So like at this point so far, we understand what we're talking about when we talk about swing highs and swing lows and stuff like that and the uptrend. But why am I actually telling you guys all these things? I'm telling you guys because in the uptrends, once you see this type of market, you should just know that you are only supposed to look to buy. You feel me? In the uptrend, only go where the strength is. Because obviously, if we look at what the price is doing, the price tries to push down here, but every time it pushes up, it moves further than it was initially. But every time it pushes down, it fails to come back to where it was initially, which was here. So it can't come down here, but at the same time, it can go back to this point, which it even goes further than that. So obviously, it tells us that the strength is pushing upwards. There's weakness every time the market goes down, and there's strength every time the market goes up. You feel me? So what you need to do in this type of markets, you have to wait for a market to actually make this move of going from there to down here. And once you start to see this turning point, right? Once you start to see this turning point, which is here for this chart, once you start to see a turning point like this, you should automatically opt to buy. And once you are in this market, that's when the price will carry you upwards until those type of levels. Obviously, you'll have to close as you want, you feel me? And this is the basis of where most of my signals come from, if not all of them, you feel me? The first things that I always consider is the direction of the market, of whichever market that I'm looking at, you feel me? And you'll notice that all of this currency pairs, all of this, everything that we trade, it has to have a trend. It's either an uptrend or downtrend or a sideways market, you feel me? So the basis principle of an uptrend, you need to find the highs, right? You can even write down this formula, you feel me? Highs are getting higher, lows are getting higher. Once you have that formula down and the market actually gives you highs that are getting higher and lows that are getting higher, it's an uptrend. Once you know it's an uptrend, all you have to do is wait for a low, right? All you have to do is just wait for a low. Once you get the turning point, you can buy now, right? Once you get these turning points, that's areas where you're supposed to be buying, you feel me? And going against the trend isn't really advisable unless you're really advanced, you feel me? But for the most part, just look for areas where this market is making turning points, you feel me? And that's the area where you want to buy. So let's go to the next uptrend that we're going to look at today. So we're gonna look at the USD CHF on the M30, you feel me? So on the M30, what actually, not actually on the M30, we're just gonna look at the H1 here, right? Obviously I draw these trend lines because that's where the price was moving. The trend line, the price was moving between these two lines that I drew, this line and this line. The price was basically moving in between, so that kind of guides me to show me a clearer vision and know where to like buy. Because once I drew such trend lines, I know every time the market, you feel me, every time the market moves closer to the trend line, that's basically telling me I'm about to see a turning point somewhere. That's just how it goes, you feel me? And even if you look at the lows and highs, because we talked about structure, we need to verify. I said the formula is swing high, or the highs are getting higher, lows are getting higher. So we have a high there, we have a low. We have a high that's higher than this one. We have a low that's higher than this one. We have a high that's higher than this one and a low that's higher than this one. So you already know what to do. Every time the market makes a low, that's where you want to buy. So every time the market goes down, that's what we call a dip, right? So when people say you need to buy the dip, they're saying you need to wait for price. In an uptrend, you need to wait for the price first to dip down, and once it's dipping down, that's a perfect opportunity for you to buy, you feel me? So I feel like as far as uptrends go, as long as it's still like following the laws of uptrends, which is high swing highs and swing lows, you can trade it. And this thing isn't based on a specific time frame, right? You can find this on H1, you can find this on M30, you can find this on 15 minutes, H4. You feel me? But obviously the time frames don't react the same way, which I think I will do a lesson on, which might be the next lesson. You feel me? But so far, in terms of uptrends, this is what you need to internalize, fam. This is like the backbone of trading, forex trading. This is the backbone. You just need to know the trend first. Once you understand this concept of trends, everything else is gonna be like clear. Everything else is gonna make sense. So let's go to the next type of trend, right? So the next type of trend that we're gonna go to is downtrend, and everything I'm talking about here is there on the price action, guys. So you guys need to actually go check that out, right? So talking about downtrend, the downtrend is actually the opposite of the uptrend, because the uptrend where the price is going up, the downtrend is where the price is going down. So as you can see in this diagram that I've illustrated here, the highs are getting lower, right? Every high that forms is lower than the previous one. Every low that forms is also lower than the previous one. Once you see this type of structure, you should know this is where you want to trade. If you don't see an uptrend and you see a downtrend is still a valid place for you to trade, because the uptrend itself, what we just talked about, was basically a strategy for buying in its simplest form. You feel me? So a downtrend is a market where we only want to sell, right? So now that you can see the structure and everything, I think it's only fair that we take it to the charts. You feel me? So going to the charts, the chart that we're gonna look at now is the Euro USD, but on the time frame that's M15, in the 15 minutes time frame. Because you remember I said all these things that we're talking about, these things apply to all the time frames: weekly, daily, monthly, M15, 5-minute chart, 1-minute chart. As long as it's forex trading, you're gonna find these things everywhere. You feel me? So now we can actually look at what's going on here. We don't even need to go back here where I did the analysis and stuff. We can just look at what's going on here, right? So we need to first look at where this trend started. This trend started here. It was going up here and then basically came down. Then it made this high right there, right? So we had this high. Then we have a low here. I know one thing about like looking at the structure now, that's the importance of why you need to like find the proper structure for you. It's because you see how it moves down here. Like you might think that this is a high and this is a lower high. You might think that this is a high, to low, to lower high, to lower low, to lower high. Yeah, actually it still does kind of play into that, because either way. But the only misconception you would have here is because if you consider this a high, and then this one is all you like, some people might make the mistake of considering this a high also, and that's where now like you might start making mistakes. You might start losing on some trades and stuff like that, because the structure here wasn't making sense, so to speak. I'm just gonna mark this zone here. All right, so this zone here is kind of misleading, because you might think this is this is still part of the structure, but consider it to be somewhat like this, right? The price came down to this low, right? And then it went up, right? And then it went down, right? And then it came back up again. Consider it to be a chart that's like this, right? Because if you start looking at the micro movements of a chart, then it's gonna mess with you, and you're gonna start now doubting your trades and stuff like that. Only go with the overall picture of the market. This whole movement, the price was going down until here. That's what we started seeing upwards momentum. Then it went to meet this high, then it came down here. You feel me? The same thing that happened here is the same thing that was happening here. So these markets, the thing that you need to also be aware of is that these markets don't all behave the same way, right? Sometimes with charts like Euro USD, sometimes the structure can be a little deceiving, you feel me? But you need to look at the overall picture. And once you start questioning yourself, I like, when I was learning, I used to like tell myself that once I start like questioning if this is really a downtrend or what, then I know automatically that's not the trend I want to trade, right? So maybe if we look at previous if we look at like previous analysis and stuff like that, maybe we might find a valuable downtrend. Yeah. So I'm just gonna delete all these lines, and then we're gonna take it to the H4. You feel me? So I hope even throughout this procedure you can see that like I'm not fixated on just one time frame and tell myself that nah, I'm Mr. 5 minute chart or whatever. You feel me? I just need to do whatever it takes to make money. You feel me? So we went to the 30-minute time frame. We didn't see what we were looking forward to see. So we must just go to another time frame. Doesn't mean we must write Euro USD off, but you might just find that its structure isn't the best on the lower time frame. But if you go to the higher time frames, it's actually a proper structure. You feel what I'm saying? So with this one now, say we're looking at it on the daily time frame here, right? You can see that basically this was a high. I'm just gonna lower the chart here. Yeah, this was a high. Then we had our low there with our lower high and our lower low. So obviously the market now is moving up to make a lower high, because this was a high, the next one was low, so the next one is gonna be low. So once the market makes that high, where do you think the market is gonna go? It's gonna go to make a lower low. So the strength in the uptrend, we said that the strength is going upwards, right, in an uptrend. So with the downtrend now, the strength is going downwards. So if you go to the H4 time frame now to look at the same thing, we can see that basically if we're looking at it like this, you can see we had a high, we had a low, we had a lower high to lower low. So when the market is going up, you need to wait for the price to pick that momentum and start going up. But since you are aware of the overall trend, you know the market is gonna turn and continue with the trend eventually. So what you need to do is to just wait for the time when the market starts going down. You see what I'm saying? Because looking at the price and everything, you can see that at some point this thing, because we analyzed it on the daily time frame, there are gonna be parts where it goes up, right, and you start selling because you're seeing it made a lower high, and you start selling, and then it goes down, and then it starts turning against you. But since this is a H4 time frame, you have enough time to secure your profits and stuff and let it do its thing. But you know that overall, even if this thing turns here, fam, right, the main thing is that this is still lower than this initial point. It still doesn't have momentum to recover all these losses it made until this part. So it's still struggling. So instead of just taking one trade, maybe you took the first trade here and then you secured profits because the price started moving against you, and then you got another opportunity to sell there. And once you do, you see it starts doing the same thing. You're in the second position now. You start trading, like you just keep holding, you hold, then the price starts going against you. You feel me? But you know it's not gonna go back to where you open your trade. You can either close your profits or you can leave it. You feel me? You can just move your SL from there to break even, right? Just so if it goes against you well and changes the trend, then you know at least you secured a little bit of profit, or you know you didn't take a loss. You just broke out at break even. But now you start to see that it's continuing with the trend. So you can open another trade here, right? Move your stop losses from there to here, and then you just hold both of them. And then you don't even have to wait until it turns here. What you can do, you can just wait until it goes back to this low, and once it gets there, you close out your profit and you're done. You feel me? So that's the thing. Right now we went to make our low just like we did here, right? So what I'm expecting with this chart, I'm just expecting the price to go a little bit higher, right? Go a little bit higher, and then what are we gonna do? Then we're gonna sell. into strength, because we're not buying into strength, and we have higher chances of losing this type of trades if we're going against the trend. So it's always advisable to go with the trend, right? So the next thing that we're gonna look at is the euro. It's the USD ZAR, actually, not the euro. We was already looking at the euro USD. We're gonna look at the USD ZAR on 30-minute time frame. I'm just gonna remove this. Then we're gonna go to the 30-minute time frame, right? So in the 30-minute time frame, oh my god, this is so beautiful, fam. Like, we're just gonna look at this area from there to there, right? We have our high, our low, our lower high, our lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. You feel me? And then the price started to go against the trend there. But just looking at this part, remember we said with the uptrends, you wanna buy after the market makes a low. But with the uptrends, you wanna sell. No, with the uptrends, you wanna buy when the market makes a low, right? A higher low. With the downtrends, you wanna sell when the market makes a lower high, right? So here there was opportunity to sell there, another one there, another one there, and you were just gonna keep holding here. You feel me? So this is what I would call a proper structure. And if you wanna like expand the structure, you can just use another time frame, maybe 15-minute time frame, so that those highs are even more visible now and those lows are even more visible. Do whatever you need to do so that the structure is perfectly clear to you. Because to someone, maybe the perfect structure is H1. Maybe to me, the perfect structure is H1 or H4. But to you, you might find it better to trade maybe in the not even in the H1. I already said the H1. Maybe you might find it better to trade in the M30 or 15-minute time frame or 5 minutes. Just do whatever suits you, as long as you're following the premise of the rules of the uptrends and the downtrends. And also, I'm gonna resend this PDF back to the channel in case you didn't get it or whatever, you feel me. So that's all I got for you guys for uptrends and downtrends. Then we're gonna go to the sideways market, you feel me. So the sideways market, it's not even in the PDF, guys, in the price action guide, because it's not worth talking about there, you feel me. But I'm just gonna show you what I'm talking about with gold, right? So you remember what we said about the uptrends and downtrends, right? We said in an uptrend, the highs and lows are going higher. In a downtrend, the highs and lows are getting lower. But if you look at what's happening here, can you honestly tell me what's going on, fam? Right? Because here it kind of looks like it's in an uptrend, then it starts going down again, then it goes up, then it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. You feel me? Like, basically from there, right? From this point to this point, this market was just moving sideways, right? And I will just make a zone here. So you see what I'm saying? So from the 15th of March until the 19th of March, this thing basically stayed stagnant. It didn't go up, it didn't go down. But if you're looking at the charts, you think, yeah, it's going up here, it was going down here. But the overall gains of this thing was zero. It was basically stagnant, from nothing at all happened. So why would you trade a type of chart like this? It doesn't make sense. The chart itself, or the currency pair itself, well, gold itself, didn't make any gains from the 15th of March until the 19th of March. If gold itself didn't make any gain, what makes you think when you gain from this? Unless you are advanced or you're using, you feel me, other strategies. I don't want to write it off as impossible, but for someone who's like learning how to trade these things, obviously some people trade range markets and stuff, but I just prefer to make the most bank from the markets. And if you want to make the most money, you need to go with the trends. So once you start seeing charts like this, just stay away from it, fam. And another example I think I have is the USDCHF. You see, even with the USDCHF now, like, basically nothing happened here. Just look at this thing. It goes up, it goes down, it starts in a downtrend, uptrend. Like, you don't understand what's going on. Once you start seeing things like this, stay away from it, because at this point it's just gambling. You feel me? Alright, so thank you guys for tuning in to the first lesson of the VIP mentorship, right? I'm planning on doing more of these every week and stuff like that. If you need anything, if you need me to clarify anything and stuff like that, just hit me up, direct message on Telegram. Don't use WhatsApp, because your texts are just gonna get lost in my WhatsApp, fam, because there's a whole lot of non-business texts I'm getting on WhatsApp and business messages, so it doesn't help me, it doesn't help you. Use Telegram. That's where now I'm just like focused only on business day. You feel me? So, you feel me? Like I said, there's nothing else left to say about the first lesson. Hopefully you're gonna start applying this, and you take your time to like thoroughly go through this and the PDF. You will learn a lot of things. You feel me? I'm also gonna play my part and show you guys these things, but otherwise I'll see you guys on Monday, right?